everybody, Sonja 134 here.
And I'm Average Joe Squad, as always.
And welcome to another episode of Remember the Hyphen, the show where we look at comic books, movies, and everything in between.
And we're continuing my birthday month, 1 month late because my mental health sucked.
Yeah, that's fair.
As it has sucked for the last couple months. Due to a certain title that, a certain writer whose last name rhymes with Bells has fucking ruined and ran into the ground and hurt my mental health, so.
I know.
But anyway, we're not going to talk about today. We're going to talk about something good Spider-Man.
Yep.
So, we are going to be talking about, real quick, I had never heard of this book until, I had always heard, I'll just show it. We're reviewing Spider-Man Red Sonja by Marvel and by Dynamite. I had always heard about the connection with Mary Jane and Red Sonja.
Yeah.
That Mary Jane was a descendant of Red Sonja. I had always heard that, but didn't know that, like, I knew it was, like, from, like, a one-off book or something. I didn't know it was, like, a whole mini, much less one that got collected in a Marvel Premiere Edition hardcover.
Yeah. Thank God she wasn't a descendant of Conan, because all I would hear is her doing the Arnold accent, and that would be really weird during the moments where her and Peter get intimate. Oh, Peter, I can't believe how strong you are.
Stop.
Put me against the wall again.
But,
wow.
This was $20 when it came out.
I can believe that.
This is long out of print.
Yeah, especially because it's a
collab. It's not on Unlimited either. So like I picked it up for I think I paid $15 used.
Yeah.
But like again, there's not a lot of listings for it on Amazon.
Yeah.
So because again, it is out of print.
You probably paid about as much as I paid for that Batman Shadow crossover from Dynamite that I have.
Yeah, and I mean it's a really good book. It collects that mini, that 1 through 5, and then it also collects the actual Marvel team up. That was the original one, which I didn't know when I went into this, and because I read this all in one sitting. It's very short. I read it in like an hour.
Yeah. If
that, and then like I looked in the back, and it has the original Marvel team up.
Because originally Marvel had the rights to Red Sonja.
Yeah, so they got that John Bryan art.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
which looks really good.
Yeah, but where's the actual cover? But I had wanted this because I saw a post on Twitter of there's a spread in here and I don't think I can show it because it's kind of not safe for work, and I don't want, even though we're not making no money on this, I don't want YouTube to fuck with us. Where MJ is talking to Red Sonja about her relationship to Peter, and I saw that and I was like, that is really well written. What is that from? Saw what it was from, threw it in on Amazon. I'm having real good luck with finding Spider-Man stuff on Amazon that we've never heard of.
Yeah, because there's a couple other books that he wants to do,
like Spirits of the Earth, or Fear Itself, like these books that like most people have not heard of, and I don't think they've ever been reprinted. But
we'll get into those when we actually read them.
Threw it on Amazon and it was $15, and I was talking to my Discord. I'm like, hey, I found it. And someone's like, that actually is like really expensive, and usually is like $100.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I paid $20, if that. I think altogether, I paid more for the ship.
Yeah.
But no, for those who don't know, diving into it, Red Sonja is originally a Robert E. Howard creation, the same guy that did Conan the Barbarian.
In fact, they're very interlaced.
Solomon Kane, a couple other like very famous sci-fi / fantasy / pulp writer.
Yeah.
Kind
of nuts. What I know about him.
Well, less getting into that the better. But
I didn't know about that part, but I know I thought he was into like Scientology or something like that.
No, I don't think so.
I thought he was the same dude that did Battlefield Earth.
No, you're thinking of L. Ron Hubbard.
Oh, my bad. Never mind then.
No, you're thinking of somebody else.
Never mind.
A couple different decades separated. But anyway, in the 70s, Marvel had the licensing for the Conan the Barbarian and the Red Sonja series, and the Marvel series is actually where Red Sonja's characterization comes from that we know of now.
Okay.
It's kind of the opposite of a lot of the stuff that Conan was famous for was adapted for the comics, largely from the books, and I might be wrong in how much. I'm sure someone out there
then
can
you would say
me.
like the movies.
Yeah, then like the movies came later.
Well, yeah, the movies did come later.
The movies came later. This is like, but Red Sonja, while being a creation of Howard, I'm pretty sure is largely changed a lot by Marvel. Like the infamous chainmail bikini, that is a Marvel creation. I'm pretty sure the backstory is I'm actually looking it up right now because I don't want to talk if I'm not correct. Okay, actually, I am wrong.
Yeah.
Red Sonja is created by writer Roy Thomas and artist Barry Windsor Smith for Marvel Comics in 1973, partially based on Robert E. Howard's character Red Sonja of I'm gonna butcher this name. I apologize. Rogatino.
Yeah, I would say Rogatino.
A female swashbuckler from the 1934 short story The Shadow of the Vulture. So yeah, the modern Red Sonja is very much just a Marvel creation. They don't have the rights to her anymore, I'm pretty sure. Dynamite does.
Yeah.
Dynamite has had a very successful run with her. Gail Simone wrote some of her comics. I actually have some of those.
It's kind of funny considering Conan, they had the rights for him. Or got
they had him
recently.
back.
Yeah.
Which they don't have him anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's kind of where that collab came from with the Marvel team up. I guess we'll do the Marvel team up first, I guess, because it's chronologically it's first.
Yeah.
And as having read them back to back, they are pretty much the same exact story.
Okay.
The mini is much better, and in my opinion, it's more because it's more fleshed out.
Yeah, I was about
it
to
has
say.
the benefit of being a mini, whereas Marvel team up is just a book.
It's just we've got 20 pages. Go.
Yeah.
Like as much as I liked some Marvel team up stories,
it's limited by the length.
Yeah. For
Whereas,
example,
again, the mini has much more room to do stuff.
Yeah. For example, there's a very infamous Spider-Man Hercules Marvel team up where I forget the villain, but like they separate Manhattan from the mainland, and Hercules pulls it back because they have to finish it at the end of the book, so he just pulls it back to where it was, and it's really goofy and nonsensical. Also, get used to saying Spider-Man in Marvel Team Up because literally Marvel Team Up was like a unofficial Spider-Man title for a good chunk of its run because Spider-Man did a lot of the teaming up.
We'll do Marvel Team Up at some point. I need to get a lot of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of it's traded, but
that's really the bigger problem with Marvel Team Up.
Yeah, but so anyway, the original book, it is written by Chris Claremont and is illustrated by John Bryan.
Oh, X-Men fame and Man of Steel.
Yeah. It even gives you a date. It takes place 22nd December, Friday, 1978.
Yeah.
But basically, it's getting near Christmas, and it opens up with Spider-Man. He's late to this Daily Bugle party. They're having a Christmas party.
As you do.
And while that's going on, we have a security guard at one of the museums, and they have a new exhibit of all this stuff. And he starts getting an urge and a calling to go towards this amulet. And this amulet is basically in very much a very stereotypical plot point.
Is a mystical MacGuffin.
It's a mystical MacGuffin. And it is... They don't show you right away, but it turns him into a vessel for the villain of both of these stories, which is Kulan Gath, who I had no clue about prior to reading this. Apparently, he's fought the X-Men before. He was fully integrated into Marvel lore, apparently. He is a Marvel creation. He's a Marvel creation for Conan the Barbarian, the comics, and the Red Sonja series. He is fully integrated into Marvel lore.
Kind of like the Dire Rays were originally Rom Space Knight's enemies, and then they became Silver Surfer villains.
Exactly. Anyway, so we get that, and then we get Peter at the Christmas party.
Try not to get kissed by Jonah, the usual.
Which Mary Jane shows up, and I will admit, John Bryan, I do not like him as a person, but
not a lot of people do.
He draws a very good Mary Jane, and I actually didn't know that moment on the top was where that kiss came from with the mistletoe. I did not, because I actually love that moment. I did not know that was from Marvel Team Up. I thought that was from ASM.
Now, are they married here? Or is this?
No, this is prior. This is 78. They got married in 87. So this, but they're dating on and off. This is post Gwen's death.
Oh, so this is probably around the time she came back after she kind of left the title for a while.
Yeah. So anyway, they're at the party, and Robbie gets word that there's been a break-in at the museum, and there's something going on. And Peter and this other guy are the only two people that have not been drinking.
So they have to go. Well, they get in the Bugle's car, and they race off the scene. Mary Jane is tagged along. Well, yeah, because at this point, she knows he's Spider-Man, so why not?
To which, Peter is like, what are you doing here? And she's like, going where the action is, Tiger. Nobody said I couldn't tag along.
Which I don't know why he's shocked. Literally, when she first showed up, was like, "Let's go watch the Rhino break shit."
Yeah. So, and I believe that this is prior to her revealing that she knows he's Spider-Man.
Oh, this is prior to that reveal?
Yeah, this is prior. This is prior to Parallel Lives. So they arrive at the museum, and that art.
Yeah,
Like
that's some demon shit's going down, and you need to get the fuck out.
Let me read this, man. Like, let me read this to you.
No, that's fair.
It says, if a part of the sky had turned to living flame, before their eyes, a blood-hued beam of energy lances upward from the museum as far as the eye can see, washing the landscape in angry, garish shades of crimson. Someone near Peter screams. A grim-faced police sergeant crosses himself, muttering a prayer. To him, to many around him, looking into that terrible light is like looking through the gates of hell. You could tell Chris was writing this, man, because
yeah, that's some
level.
Claremont X-Men shit right there.
So good. Love me some Claremont X-Men. We got to review more Claremont X-Men at some point.
Well, you know, whenever he's not having them all bang each other.
Yeah.
As much as I love Claremont.
Yeah, in which, so like, you know, MJ's obvious. They're all staring at this. Peter instantly is like, I gotta go fucking suit up.
Yeah.
You know, something's going on. I gotta go suit up.
This is some Spider-Man territory shit.
Yeah. So, you know, and MJ's talking about to him as he's going away, not realizing he's running away.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, she's like, "What is it? What does it mean?" And you know, she turns around, he's gone, and she's like, "Answer me, will you, Tiger? I'm scared. I need some moral support." Peter, he's gone. Darn that man, he's done it to me again. The minute the world goes bloody right when I need him most, he disappears. Well, this time he's not gonna get away with it.
Oh, so I see where this is
So she rushes
going.
into the museum to find him. You know, saying, you know, like, I didn't see him behind police lines, and if he was headed for the museum, this is the only way he could have come. The side door is open, he must have gone inside. Oh no, Peter, it could be dangerous, and you're just not cut out to be a hero. Because again, this is prior to the reveal that she's known the whole time,
Yeah.
which was a retcon. So
yeah, so there's times where it's just like
it doesn't really fit. But
yeah. Although you could argue here, she's like, no, this is not a Spider-Man pay grade kind of thing.
Yeah. So Peter goes into the museum, and he instantly gets attacked by some magic shit. That's the best way to put it. Some magic, some Conan.
It's
level
tentacles.
It's tentacles. Yeah.
I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going.
Yeah. And he's fighting like demons and shit. And MJ sees this.
I already see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, MJ sees this, you know, and she's like, it's Spider-Man, he's fighting monsters and they're killing him. And I'll read you the dialogue. She looks at this sword that's in the case.
Which is also next to this amulet, by the way, when they showed it.
No,
I
it's
thought
not.
the sword was, because like...
No, that's a bracelet.
Oh, okay.
That's one of Sonya's bracelets.
Okay.
Her first thought is of flight. Her second, of how she might help. Gripped by more emotions than she can name, MJ stands frozen, unsure of what she can do. And in that stand, the decision is taken out of her hands. And so the sword starts glowing. To which MJ says, you know, the sword's glowing. Light inside my head, so bright, but it doesn't hurt. Voice calling, don't understand, but I'm no longer afraid. To which, you know, she grabs the sword, and continuing the narration, the ancient blade is heavy in her hand, almost impossible to lift. The light, purest silver, spreads along her arm, across her body, filling the room with an elemental glow. And within that eldritch glow, Mary Jane Watson ceases to be, and in her place, a legend walks the earth once more. And then we get Red Sonja arrives on the scene.
Can I read her dialogue here real quick?
Go right ahead.
Back to your pits, you thrice damned spawns of hell, or face the naked steel of Red Sonja, she-devil of the Hycrarian steppes.
And then in the bottom, those of you interested in learning more about Red Sonja can check out her own book on sale bi-monthly.
AKA, Red Sonja's about to fuck up some demons.
Oh yeah,
because that's one of the things her and Conan do a lot in the Marvel comics.
And he does get a name drop in this. He doesn't get a name drop in the actual mini.
Because I was about to say, I don't think Dynamite...
Because they didn't have the rights.
Yeah,
they didn't have the rights. And I don't think Marvel had the rights to it at that point either.
I also say that's mostly because, due to the fact that Conan is owned by a movie studio...
He's not.
Oh, he's
not? The rights, the film rights are. Conan is actually, I believe, owned by the Robert E. Howard estate, if not partially.
Okay.
It's going to become public domain here very quickly. Solomon Kane's first story by him is also public domain. So...
But isn't that the name... No, I'm thinking of Hannibal Kane from the Blade movies.
Yeah, but...
Who is a real Marvel character, by the way?
We get some great art of Sonja,
just
like
fucking
just
demons
fucking
up.
demons up, like. And it goes awry very quickly. Kulan Gaff shows up, and it's revealed that, they have fought each other. So if you didn't know anything about Sonja, this is kind of like your key in, like, they have fought each other before.
Yeah, meanwhile, Spider-Man's all worried because he knows that Mary...
He does not know.
Oh, he does not know?
In this, he does not know.
In this, he doesn't know.
Yeah, in this, he does not know. In the mini, he does. That is a difference. We'll get into what's different once we get to it.
Gotcha, okay.
I'm trying to, like, rush this along, because the main part of this is going to be the other story. But,
yeah.
In this, it's actually interesting because they cannot communicate with each other because Sonja does not speak English.
Oh, yeah, she would speak whatever ancient language. Sumerian. Okay.
Yeah, Sumerian, I believe, is what it is. And man, like Sonja's dialogue is so, like, sword and sorcery.
Yeah.
Like, Ishtar's girdle. I thought merely a warrior clad in some outlandish harness, but he runs up the wall, across the ceiling, like some human spider. And to which Peter's like, quit struggling, lady. Oh, what's the use? She doesn't speak English, and her language sounds like gibberish to me. Better try something else. Habla español, Paris vos francis. Like sprechen Sie Deutsch? No, nice. I'm like, he tries a couple different languages. To which, and then, so they, Sonja actually smacks him in the head with the sword and knocks
she thinks
him
he's
out.
a demon.
Yeah, knocks him out, and they both fall to the earth, and what happens is, this allows the villain to kidnap them with some very X-Men-like...
Oh, like crosses?
Yeah, like some X-Men-like crosses, looking like some shit out of, like, Mutant Massacre, honestly, like... But it's revealed that this guy, he needs their blood to open up a portal to his realm, to take over. Peter manages to break out of it. He rescues Sonja. He totally whips this dude's ass in typical Spider-Man fashion. I mean, he's bouncing off the walls while this guy's shooting magic at him.
Oh, like the U2 song from Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
Don't ever bring that up. They manage to crash outside, and it stuns both Sonja and this guy because they're like, holy fuck, what happened?
Well, yeah, it's like that one scene from Billy and Mandy with Fred Flintstone where technology is causing their sanity to break until they eventually snap and lose their minds.
Yeah, so... And Peter one-shots this guy back into the museum. To which, Sonja's like, oh yeah, here we go. So I'll read you this interplay because this is great dialogue. I love Claremont's dialogue so much. One of my favorite writers. The impact carries the two men out onto the museum's broad steps, and Spider-Man finds himself noting, crazily, that the crowd sure has grown since he arrived. Both Sorcerer and She-Devil are stunned beyond thought, each instinctively calling on their oldest, strongest gods. As the disbelieving eyes take in the size and wonders of the impossible city before them. No, please, Dark Lords, no. I knew I had slept a long time, but I never dreamed the world could change so much. Which Sonja says, Mitra, Ishtar, all you gods stand by me. The air is so foul it chokes me. Truly, this is a city of the damned. To which Peter grips the villain. That's right, Wiz. Inside the museum was illusion. This is reality. Your world is dead, and now so are you. To which, Sonja says, hold him, comrade. Let my blade end this fight. To which Peter says, and one more thing, bozo. It's not man-spider. It's Spider-Man. And he just one-shots him into the museum. To which he's ripped off the amulet, reverting the guy back to the guard. And at the same time, MJ reverts back to her actual form. And again, reading this, it...
I also love how barely she changes. Like, basically, MJ gets her clothes back on, and her hair depoofs.
Yeah. Well, she gets a little shorter.
Well, yeah.
Because Sonja is canonically taller than
she's
her.
like an Amazon, basically.
Yeah, so now it's Spidey's turn to breathe a prayer, as Sonja's form turns transparent as glass and fades away, revealing a gentler, far more fragile soul whose work is done, and leaving Spidey to realize with a start that possession is sometimes a two-edged sword, used by the forces of good as well as evil. To which, he realizes it's Mary Jane.
Which that's kind of referencing Ghost Rider.
Yeah, so he gets them out of there. He throws the amulet into the bay, and that is the end of our tale.
Also, does MJ even wake up, or does she...
Well, it's revealed that, she's okay. She remembers... She doesn't really remember anything. Peter says she's filed it under crazy dreams. To which Peter says, heck, if my automatic camera hadn't gotten everything on film, I'm sure I wouldn't have believed it myself. Wizards, demons, elder gods, enchanted amulets. I think I prefer my menaces more down to earth.
Which
wow, so do I, Spidey. Especially anymore. I really agree.
Well, I also love that he says it like he almost says it like he doesn't like he's like it's so farcical despite the fact that he's hung out with Doctor Strange like by this point.
So that's Marvel Team Up, and now we get in, and that was published in the 70s. Fast forward to I believe this is 2005.
Well, real quick before we really, I will say like
2005.
That wasn't a bad. I think that was probably one of the better Marvel Team Ups just because it.
But it's very compressed because again, you're working with a 20-page book.
Well, but like it's not like something goofy happens that resolves the plot really fast. Like it gets resolved fast, but it feels more natural why it got resolved fast. If that makes sense.
Oh wow, hold on. This is 2008.
Yeah.
This is even closer than I thought. So,
but like that was one of, like I said, that was one of the better ones just because
I think Claremont carried a lot of that, and Brian, again, I don't like him as a person, but his art also is very good in it.
Well, then it feels like it's just like a random Spider-Man story where like he ends up like running into like demons and stuff, and it doesn't feel.
The actual main book feels like that, but it's even grander.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm excited to tell. I've been excited to read to do this one with him because I was like, I bought this, excited to read it. And then I read it, and I was like, holy fuck, this got to be a review.
Well, this is kind of interesting here that it's 2008, because, so this is post One More Day, but they have him and Mary Jane together. So this must have been...
And they're married, I believe. They are married.
So this must have been written before that ever got finalized.
Oh, and you'll probably see some slights against editorial decisions. But, so yeah. I read this in, again, one sitting, and I read this on Monday. So yesterday at the time of this filming, and it was that quick. I was like, no, we're reviewing this. Well, this is good.
To be fair, it's a crossover, even if it is a few issues. Usually, these crossovers are very fast reads.
So, the guy that did the art for this, same guy that does did the Red Sonja series.
So does she normally still have the chainmail bikini in the Dynamite series?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So there's our first cover.
Man, that's actually a pretty good Venom. The jaw's a little bit longer than I like, but at least he's not like goofy looking.
Yeah. So it basically starts, it's near, again, it's same kind of setting. It's near Christmas, and Peter's out on patrol, and he's bummeling some people while talking to Mary Jane on the phone.
That's a good-looking 2-page spread, too. I actually like the way he's upside down, like he just swung in. Like, I like that.
Yeah, and he's on the phone, and he's like, hey, Mary Jane, how you doing? It's all one word, so he's talking fast.
Well, he's also being Joey from Friends.
Yeah. So meanwhile, Mary Jane's at a production of Macbeth that she is starring in, so they're talking about getting food, and there's some Peter MJ horniness, like there always fucking is. Like, because MJ's like, can you order up some Cuban when we get home? And Peter says, you got that part? That's great. Oh, you got the part. That's great.
Great, yeah.
Do you get to wear a cat costume in this one?
Yes, Peter.
To which Peter says, sorry. To which MJ says, sorry, Pete. No cats in Macbeth. To which Peter says, too bad. I liked when you wore it home that one night. Like, because he's fighting somebody. To which MJ's like, are you calling me during patrol again? To which Peter says, oh, just finishing up my workout. Almost pulled a muscle in my pinky. I'll order the Cuban and see you in an hour. To which MJ is like, fooling around with one of the fake swords. She says, 'tis a date, my lord.
Also, I actually really like the way they drew the Spider-Man in this. I actually like the really big spider.
Yeah.
Because this is clearly the artist's own interpretation of the Spider-Man suit.
Yeah, so cut to, there's an event going on at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and we get this scene where it's a senator talking to somebody, and he's a corrupt politician and stuff, and he's not really happy with it.
As you do.
He's so addicted to the power that he can't let it go, but he doesn't like the ways he has to keep the power.
Oh, like that guy in that spectacular book I just gave you?
Yeah. So, Jonah is there, and he's wanting to get an interview. Well, and this guy, I'm pretty sure it is the same guy. Yes, it is.
The same guy.
He feels a calling to that necklace. The museum owner lets him touch it. First mistake. That guy, and he goes to put it on, and the museum owner's like, I can't let you put it on. And he's like, the guy does it anyway, and he turns into Kulan Gath. So
I'm sorry, he's the most stereotypical looking wizard.
Oh, I know, and he is. But what happens is he uses his magic instantly and turns New York into a medieval looking world.
Oh, so it's like Inferno.
Yeah, he turns him into a medieval world. And You know, he basically has claimed this guy as his vessel, and he's turned New York into reminiscent of his world because he's going to remake the entire world in his world's image,
except for Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, we're getting to that.
Well, I'm sure there's a reason. I was just saying that like everything changed except Spider-Man.
We're getting to that. He elects J. Jonah Jameson to be his scribe, which is just all kinds of fucking funny. So I'll read this because this is essential, okay? You know, because he basically asked Jonah, he's like, where do I stand? You know, and so Jonah tells him, you stand in the city of New York, the greatest metropolis of all the realm. This building is a grand storehouse of art and treasure, a place that will be defended. Know that this is a city of heroes, and they will surely seek thee out. Because everybody starts talking like it's old. Peter calls it, everybody's talking Tolkienish.
I mean, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, to which Gaff kind of chokes him a little bit and says, I did not ask your personal thoughts, scribe. I have trod this path before. Moral destiny can be a circle. Many of your years ago, I came to this era, and the man-spider thwarted my plans. Along with that woman, a red-haired hero of Hyporia. I shall not make that same mistake again.
Oh, so this is trying to say that this is like legitimately a sequel to... Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of. It's the same exact story, but they are kind of trying to pick up that it happened in continuity.
Okay. That's cool.
This time I shall pit the one against the other, leaving me room to complete my plans in peace and away from their meddling. I sense a connection between my red-haired foe and the man-spider's woman. They are linked by a blade, long stored in this house of arts. Mary Jane Watson, come to me, I call upon you. Yes, you shall come to me, Mary Jane, and you shall become who you truly are. So Mary Jane is in a trance, and she gets taken to museum. She literally crawls up the building to get the sword, to the point that like her fingers are bleeding.
Yeesh.
Yeah. Here it is, and he's obviously speaking directly to Mary Jane through magic. Look around you, and you shall see my power. I have transformed your city and revealed its evil heart. And this city shall have need of a hero, and a hero needs her sword. To which Peter is beating up goblins and shit, and...
As you do.
He rescues some people, and they all think he's a demon too, so he's like, whoa, it may be all castles and trolls, but no matter the venue, some things never change.
Yeah, because... You know.
Yeah, so he sees Mary Jane crawling up the side of the building, and he tries to talk to her. She doesn't hear him. And so he gets up to the top of the building. MJ gets the sword and is transformed into Red Sonja.
Mostly because, like, she's also, like, centuries old, so this is, like, the best way to get her here without being confusing.
To which, you know, Peter sees her get the sword and says... Mary Jane, listen, honey, something's happened to you to the city. You're not yourself, so just put the sword down. To which, you know, Sonja swings at him and actually cuts him and says, no man touches Red Sonja, deaf to the man-spider.
Yeah.
That's how we
That's how the end of first issue.
Yeah, which, again, the covers for this are just very beautiful. I would like to actually get the singles for this.
No,
and get the variants if I can, if they're cheap enough. So, issue 2, we start out with Eddie Brock, who is also affected by this shit. Not him though. He is affected by he is not affected by anything other than the typical make everybody talk in different Tolkienish types things. Who is really under the influence of Kulon is Venom. To which he says, Eddie, do you hear it? Kulan Gaff calls to us. He knows us, Eddie. He needs us. He knows we have a role in the world he is remaking. He understands our pain, our potential. Listen to his call. Embrace it. Let us go to him now and claim our place at his side.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah. Is that the tanker? Did they actually bring fucking gas in this place? Our gas station's out of gas, so...
Yeah, because we're recording this on the 4th of July.
Yeah. But, so anyway... You know, he turns into Venom. Make pure for our Lord Kulan Gaff, made pure by the hand of Venom. To which we go back to Sonja and Spider-Man, and they're fighting still.
Yeah, she knocked Peter off the building, I guess, between shots.
Yeah. To which Peter is like going like, oh boy. Okay, as much as that hurt, it'll hurt even more when Mary Jane finds out I let her run around in a chainmail bikini. And so it's, you know, Spider-Man, he comes back up and he says, hi, my name is Spider-Man, and I swear you are totally in love with me. To which Sonja says, I know not who you are, Spider Demon, but my very soul aches to cut you down.
Damn, what did Peter do to make her so mad?
Yeah. To which, Peter's wetting the sword and stuff, and he says, "Come on, honey, you aren't supposed to say that kind of stuff until we've been married like a gazillion years." To which Sonja says, "I am not the marrying kind, spider demon.
I'm just the kind that fucks anyone that can kill me. What's the big deal?"
But so they fight, and, Peter tries to reason with her, and he says, listen, this may sound crazy, but you aren't who you think you are. Manhattan isn't what it's been turned into. This is all some kind of lie, a bad fantasy movie special effect. Seriously, you are not this woman. You are my woman, Mary Jane Watson. Sonja is, and to which Sonja says, Sonja is no man's woman. Sonja is a warrior, a thief, a killer of demons. To which Peter says, whoa, okay, I get it. You're an independent thinker. To which, they just keep fighting, and he tries to reason with her.
Because he doesn't want to hurt her, because that's Mary Jane.
Yeah, to which he even says, okay, Mary Jane, the idea of fighting you sucks, but I have to take you down before you hurt yourself and before you completely forget who you really are. So he knocks the sword out of her, and they fight a little bit more.
Because we're at the point of the crossover where the two have to fight.
He hits her a couple of times, and each time he hits her, he's like, sorry. Yeah. To which it's explained, Sonja gives her backstory for this. She says, Gaff's men slaughtered my family before my eyes and stole my innocence. But on that day, I was blessed by a goddess to exact revenge against such evil as yourself, demon, and all that serve Gaff.
Which I didn't realize how close the movie actually was to her origin.
Yeah. To which, they get knocked off the building. They fall through a roof. And again, Sonja doesn't have her sword yet at this point because it got knocked out of her hands. To which Peter is saying, maybe this is all a dream. Yeah, that's it. Like a nightmare where zombies are chasing you, or worse, clowns. But I think I've dreamt this before. You grabbed a magic blade and turned into this crazy pole dancer with a sword. All I have to do is show you that you're not this insane warrior, and then I'll wake up. Yeah, I'll wake up and be back in your arms, and maybe you'll still have this fun bikini on. Again, Peter MJ, perpetually horny. Love it.
I mean, to be fair, that's the part he doesn't mind.
So which Sonja gets her sword and goes to plunge it into Peter, and she stops. She misses purposely and hits right beside him. To which, Peter's looking at her and it's like, whoa, thanks for not killing me? To which Sonja says, when I dropped my blade, I felt things. You deserve better, man spider. You are a great warrior, and I see that. You are no demon. When I lost my sword, an odd vision came to me of a woman and a man. You seem familiar. Peter? To which, she gets the sword again and says, what magic demon is this? And Peter goes, no, you remember who you actually are. Okay. And at that point, Venom shows up.
Oh, so basically, the villain of the piece put like a spell, an incantation on her sword to make her fight, basically.
Yeah, kind of. So they fight, Venom, Sonja, and MJ, and Peter fight. The whole time, Gaff is also talking about his plan to keep this world permanent, which is, I have summoned a great evil in this city and it pleases me. Scribe, I have a new decree. To prevent Sonja's essence from leaping to a new body, let it be known that all women with red hair shall have their heads removed and hung for public display. I have set Sonja and the spider against each other, and this beast, this Venom, hunts them both for me. Tell me more of this Venom, it intrigues me. And it's like, then we get Robbie and stuff, and it's revealed that, the humans of this world are being kind of herded into camps by the demons and such. Then we go back to more fighting with Venom and Red Sonja. I'm sorry if I'm skipping over some of these fight scenes.
But to be fair, a lot of this is just, fighting. It's hard for us to describe all the fighting girls. We'd be here all night.
Yeah. To which Peter gets knocked off into the water. To which Sonja says, "I'll return to finish you, beast, but first I must rescue that fool." So which, and again, we're getting some straight up sword and sorcery imagery in this, man.
Holy crap, they actually killed a couple of women because there's a redheaded woman already with her head on a pike.
Yeah, it's holy fuck. So Sonja rescues Peter. He gets captured by the demons because he's unconscious. Sonja goes to gather more allies, and it's revealed that Gaff wants the power of Venom for himself.
Okay.
And that's the end of issue 3. We get this cover, which is pretty damn good. Again, all the covers for this are really excellent.
It's also kind of hilarious about how this wizard wants the power of the Venom symbiote. And this is years before the King in Black and all the mystical shit around symbiotes.
Yeah, so they show up and the symbiote leaps off of Eddie and goes onto Gaff. Peter is in this prison, with the Hobbit slang because he's talking to Robbie. Sonja's gathered a league of warriors to help break Peter out and to fight Kulan. Again, we get more scenes. You know, they fight together again. It goes back and forth with Kulan Gaff taking Venom. Finally, he does get Venom onto him. It leads into this big fight. Again, I'm sorry if I'm skipping over stuff. Here we go. I'm reading the most important dialogue in my opinion. So,
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is just fight banner.
That's not really that interesting to just talk about because it's just they're fighting, stuff happens.
So we get this scene where Peter saves Sonja's life, to which she says, "You valiant fool." And to which Peter says, "I'm no fool, Sonja. I'm the only one who knows what's going on. Mary Jane, the woman I love, Gaff's power has." To which Sonja says, "I can feel her like a voice deep within my soul. I don't know how, I don't know why, but the woman you love and the woman I am have become the same. But her voice, it grows faint." To which Peter says, "The longer my world stays under this spell, the more she'll fade." To which Sonja says, "You have saved my life, Spider-Man. I swear by the spirit of the goddess that I shall give my life for your woman should it come to it. I can sense her love for you, Peter. I can hear her love call for you, and I won't fail the two of you." So swears Sonja of Hycrania. To which then we get some of Peter's villains have also been affected by this, and they show up.
Yeah, which is
Hobgoblin, the Scorpion, and the Lizard.
Well, I don't know what that one demon is.
Lizard,
No, not that.
Scorpion, Hobgoblin.
Oh, that's his glider.
That's his
okay.
glider. Yeah, so
that makes more sense.
here's Kulan getting Venom, which is really cool looking.
Yeah, I actually really like that. I like how the white has become like energy. That's actually really neat.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that evil costume Captain Marvel had.
Yeah, so again, the art in this is fucking fantastic.
Well, they said that because Linkara did a review of that Captain Marvel mini.
Yeah. So again, they fight the newly arrived villains. Sonja takes on the Hobgoblin mostly. And to which, you know, they fly out into the city. Peter's fighting Lizard and Scorpion the whole time.
Yeah, because they're the ones that Peter would have to really deal with.
Yeah, so, you know, and Peter's worrying about, you know, like I don't want you to get hurt because if you lose a limb, then MJ probably loses a limb. And to which he says, he's like, I happen to like all her limbs on her. To which, you know, Scorpion's fighting him, and like Lizard's got him in like a chokehold, and Peter basically says, Scorpion, if she gets hurt, I'll shove that claw so far up your...
Yeah, but it gets cut because then it cuts back to Sonja versus
so
Gabi.
Hobgoblin and Sonja actually go so far, they go out of range of where everything's changed, and they end up in the actual normal world.
Okay, it looks like Goblin might have went back to normal. Yeah, he did go back to normal. Oh, kind of.
Yeah, kinda. To which they fight some more, and then Kulan arrives to kill Peter.
Which, damn.
Yeah, he actually uses magic and actually subdues Peter.
Well, yeah, because
granted, Peter's also like probably like running on like reserve.
Well, then magic is one of the few things that really gives Peter a lot of trouble.
Yeah, so the fight between Hobgoblin and Red Sonja continues. He's got her in like a chokehold. To which, you know, then we get Mary Jane starts talking to Sonja. And I will read this. I cannot show it because it is kind of not safe for work.
Real quick, I love the fact the fight takes him to a toy store and Red Sonja ends up in like a pile of Spider-Man plushies.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so MJ starts talking to Sonja and says, Sonja, can you hear me? Yeah, you already see why I can't show this.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it doesn't really show much, but...
It also has some of the most iconic Peter MJ moments in it, like Upside Down Kiss, the wedding, again, kiss my ass joke, Asada. My name is Mary Jane Watson, and somehow we've, I don't know, fused together? You've taken my place, and New York has been changed. And while you're out there, I'm stuck in some kind of limbo. And Peter, that crazy guy in the spider suit, I love him. He's doing everything he can to save the city, but he's going to need help. Again and again, he's put his life on the line for New York, for the entire world. But this sorcery stuff, it's not his specialty.
Yeah, that's...
And I sense that you've faced this sort of thing before, so you have to help him, Sonja. Help him fix things so we can all have our lives back, please.
Now, I should mention this isn't 2008, so this is like while the spider totem stuff was happening or had happened at this point, magic is not really a thing that happens a lot to Peter. Yeah, he crosses over with like Doc Strange and like magic characters. Magic is again not really until like Spider-Verse a very big thing that he deals with. So this is true for those of you that only know like more modern Spider-Man.
Yeah, so
But anyway,
continuing. He's fought so many battles, but this time he needs you. He needs us. Please, Sonja, go to Peter. You can forget about me and even my love for Peter, but do not forget about Spider-Man. Help him. Which I like that spread right there of MJ surrounded by all these fight scenes.
Well, I also like the way the author interpreted some of these villains. Like Mysterio looks pretty much like he does, but like you can tell like he kind of did his own touch on the Goblin and Ock.
Yeah. So, Sonja wakes back up and says, "No matter if I fall from the heavens themselves, Red Sonja never gives up." Fight renews. She is ready to fucking decapitate Hobgoblin,
Yeah.
and she ends up getting shot by some of the police, which one of them hits her in the shoulder. And that's the end of that issue. I like that cover.
That's a good cover.
But so meanwhile, back at Kula and Gaff's place, Eddie's there and he's pissed that he doesn't have Venom. Yeah, I kind of like the art here rather than like them clearly reusing some X-Men shit.
Yeah.
So basically, Kulan's got Peter kind of restrained up in kind of like an X-like pose, to which Kulan says, "Fear not, man spider, for your last breath has yet to escape your pitiful shell. I shall keep you alive long enough to see your beloved Sonja bleed out in my hands. Be grateful for the extra life I bestow to thee."
He's calling him man spider this whole time. He at least remembered the hyphen.
Yeah.
Hashtag shameless plug.
Yeah. So Sonja, she realizes she's been shot. She gets back up, but she's kind of weak from getting shot, so she gets subdued and captured as well, which leads to them both being at Kula and Gaff's place.
When they shot her in her chainmail titties, she would have been able to walk that off.
To which, Peter says, "Welcome back to the party, Red. It looks like I failed you." To which Sonja says, "No. For once I fought for love instead of revenge, and it is I who has failed both you and your beloved woman, whose body I have usurped."
Because I have to keep mentioning that in case you just came in late to this crossover.
Yeah. So Kulan, he starts monologuing.
Yeah.
I have no more speeches for these two worms. They do not deserve to hear my words or know their fate. Time grows short. To which Peter's like, "Sure sounds like a speech to me."
Yeah.
To which Kulan says, "Your blood is mine to do with as I wish. I shall funnel the energy into my amulet, so I will never again have to seek a new body. For this mighty form will ensure my ultimate victory." Where it's revealed in the crowd that Jonah and Robbie are there, and Jonah's like, "Are your men ready, old friend?" like he's gathered some people. They're not going out without a fight.
Yeah.
So Eddie rushes forward to try to get Venom back, which leads to them having a distraction for Robbie and Jonah's men to get to attack. Peter and Sonja both manage to break out of their binds, and this battle renews again. Again, like the battle scenes in this are just great. I wish I had more to say about them, but it's like it's hard to describe.
Then it's like we don't want to be here forever, so again we have to like kind of cut out a lot of the fight choreography.
Yeah. To which Kulan finally has enough. He actually uses his magic and shoots Venom off of himself.
Yeah.
So Venom goes back to Eddie, and Eddie says, "Fuck this shit, I'm out," and just leaves.
Well, and that was Venom in the crossover, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. To which then Kulan gasps. He's like, "All right, change of plans. Kill everybody."
As you do.
Yeah. So he's mad at Sonja and Spider-Man for ruining his plan. She manages to hit the amulet with her sword, which, causes big chain magic reaction. To which, he's talking about killing everybody. And, so Sonja and Peter, grab onto each other. And Sonja says, "I don't know what will happen next, my friend, but Peter says, "It's been a night I'll never forget." And so Sonja looks at Peter and they go in to kiss, and she says, "She's coming for you, Peter. I can feel it." And then right at that moment, magic evaporates. Everything's back to normal. They're kissing, and Peter says, "MJ, is it really you?" To which MJ says, "It better be me you're kissing."
Tiger.
Yeah, to which Venom is then there, and he says, yes, have what you want, Spider, and one day so will we.
Which is weird, because I want to say at this point, Venom was...
Well, he wants to be seen as a hero.
Yeah.
They address that.
Oh, okay.
I had skipped over that dialogue. But, Jonah and Robbie are there the next day, and he's talking about, like, what happened at the museum, and they don't really remember stuff. And Robbie's saying, he's like, mass hallucinations were never his thing, because Jonah blames Spider-Man.
Because, of course, he does.
He's like, well, whatever happened, it's Spider-Man's fault. Jonah, I don't know, Jonah. Mass hallucinations were never his thing. Till today, who knows what crazy powers he has? Where's your proof? Proof? He's a menace. That's a fact. And we print facts, Robbie.
Jesus Christ, Jonah. This is why you become basically Alex Jones.
Yeah. So Sonja wakes back up in her own world and wanders off to do battle another day. Meanwhile, back at one of the diners in New York, we are getting Peter and MJ having a romantic dinner date. She's obviously got a bandage over her gunshot wound. Actually, no, she doesn't have a gunshot wound at all. Only Sonja does.
Okay.
Because it's shown in this, but she still has the gunshot wound.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
yeah. And so I'm going to read this dialogue because this is very cute Peter and MJ dialogue, and I adored this.
But so basically, well,
Just to sum up before we read it.
Well, I just want to say
everything goes back to normal.
Yeah, basically, she and MJ more actually just swapped places. They were fused mentally.
Yeah, they were fused mentally, but they were kind of swapped places.
Kind of like Rick Jones and Marvel during that period where they swapped realities.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll read you the news report first before I do the dialogue. The baffling energy vortex has seemingly dissipated, and New Yorkers who fled the unidentified wall of light are returning to find their homes just as they left them. Authorities are currently investigating the cause of the unexplained disturbance. Meanwhile, in other news, Senator Brian Glass has resigned from office, saying in an official release that he is retiring from the evils of politics to spend more time with his family. To which Peter and MJ are having a romantic dinner date. It looks like Chinese.
They didn't get the Cuban they wanted.
To which MJ says, Peter, you're being so sweet. Okay, you can't fool this redhead. What did you do wrong? To which Peter says, fought some crime, saved the world with a war maiden in a chainmail bikini, had my blood sacrificed to an egomaniac with a skin condition. Usual. To which MJ looks at him and says, well, did you do something to tick off Jonah? To which Peter says, nah, it doesn't matter, MJ. The whole wide world doesn't matter. All that matters right now is me and you. To which MJ narrows eyes, looks at him. Wait a minute. Chainmail bikini? End of the book.
Peter's sleeping on the couch tonight.
Yeah, and there's a couple of sketches at the end.
I really like the way he this artist draws Spider-Man. It's... I will admit, I like the art other than like the very exaggerated way he draws the mask, Peter's mask in a couple places to do. Like, I don't mind it, but there are times where I'm like, at this point, you might as well just draw Peter's face where the mask is supposed to be.
Yeah, and so that was Spider-Man Red Sonja. And like I said, I didn't really have any expectations going into this, but when I sat down at lunch to read it, I was like hooked. And I could not I actually I was not eating my food because I was like, oh my god, I gotta read this. This is so good. And like I said, like the art's really really great in it. I mean, like just the stuff I was showing you and showing the camera, great art.
No, it's very nice.
I think the writing is very solid. I'm trying to figure out who's the writer for this. It is Eisner Award winner Michael Avon Oeming. I hope I pronounced that right.
I would say that's Oeming.
He wrote Thor during Avengers Disassembled.
Oh, he actually did Marvel. I thought maybe he was just a Dynamite guy.
He wrote the limited series Stormbreaker, the saga of Beta Ray Bill, and Thor Blood Oath before turning his attention to the Greek pantheon with the stellar Ares limited series. He also wrote Omega Flight and Spider-Man Red Sonja while continuing to collaborate with friend Brian Michael Bendis on Powers. He has also served as Red Sonja's writer for 25 Dynamite issues.
Powers is very interesting. We might have to read that some point. It's kind of weird, but like, basically it's a world where there are no superheroes. It's one where Peter's like he's got like instead when he got bit by the spider.
I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
It's actually a very interesting read.
Yeah. So I've gushed enough about it. What was your impressions?
I liked it.
On just the mini. We'll give ratings for the team up in a different discussion.
Well, granted, as you explained to me, I thought it was very good. I really like the way they portray Sonja, where like they talk about how like she very much fights for revenge and for like the will of her goddess that goddess is.
Whereas she's put in this situation where she has to fight for something other than that. So it's
yeah.
kind of like it puts her out of her element almost at first.
And I really like the way Peter is written. Like he's jokey and silly, but like at the same time he's like, I've got to be careful and I got to make sure I protect Sonja because she's using Mary Jane's body and I don't know what'll happen to Mary Jane.
Yeah.
But like it's really nice considering this is around the time where Peter is like, this is early B&D Peter, where he's written like a joke most of the time, like particularly in like the Avengers and stuff, where he's written to be like a huge joke where like even the Avengers don't like him despite him being on the team. Also this portrayal of Eddie and Venom is all like, I can tell that a lot of this was done.
This also says copyright 2007, so it's probably a mix of 2007 and 2008.
Well,
So again, still right around time of
yeah.
O&D.
Well, especially because in that at this point, technically, Eddie shouldn't be Venom because like his cancer has gotten so bad
He gave it up in Marvel Knights.
And well, also around during Back in Black, there is a story in, I want to say Spectacular or Friendly Neighborhood, where Eddie dresses up in like a shirt to make him look like Venom, and he tries to kill Aunt May.
I actually have that issue.
Yeah. It also implies he tried to kill himself by slitting his wrists because he was dying.
Yeah.
So like, it's interesting how
the other series and the minis were writing Peter better than how he was being written in the mainline title.
Well, that and just the fact that like this is clearly written like without any knowledge of what's going on in Venom's book. Well, I don't think Venom had a book.
Yeah,
at the time,
it's very much a standalone.
Yeah, but I do really like it. I also really like the way that some of Spider-Man's villains get turned into like demons to kind of fit the Red Sonja trope, and also so that it's not just they're fighting the guy from the Marvel team up again. Like they're actually fighting she actually gets to fight some of Peter's rogues, albeit they're altered a little bit, but it's
yeah, and like Peter gets to fight like demons and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's a good balanced mix.
Although I do, my only real nitpick is at one point they have Hobgoblin looking like Jack-o'-lantern, and then he turns into like regular Hobgoblin.
Well, I remember when I was telling him about this the other day, I said, yeah, there's like a demonic version of Hobgoblin, and he thought it was Demo Goblin. I'm like, no, it's not. It's just normal Hobgoblin, but he's a demon.
I see what you were trying to tell me now. He's the Hobgoblin, but like he got, although that's really weird too, because at this point, well, I shouldn't say weird, because like technically Roderick should be, Kingsley should be like in the Caribbean biding his time, because technically he isn't supposed to come back until big time, where like we had like Stern fixed him, but then like he sent him off and we didn't see the character for years. But either way, I didn't mind them using the Hobgoblin. Probably why they used the Hobgoblin was probably more because Norman was so overused at this time due to the fact that they were pushing him so much thanks to the movies.
Yeah.
But I like I said, it's just interesting to me, like, no, because I'm so familiar with this time period in Spider-Man. It's interesting how, like, it feels really in continuity, but then, like, there's other things where I'm like, oh, this writer clearly likes these characters a certain way, so they just went with how they usually are. Which I don't mind. I actually kind of prefer that with crossovers like this. Like, I don't mind them being in continuity, but I also don't mind if the writer is just like, and then Hobgoblin shows up and I'm gonna make him just the regular Hobgoblin because fuck you. But it's a good way. No, I think it's a very good crossover. Like it portrays both very well, and I really like how they use Mary Jane here to kind of be the vessel for Red Sonja. Like, given her history with the character, I think it does a really good job. Although I also remember they also, I think, kind of referenced her with Beverly and Howard the Duck. Because I want to say in her first appearance, she's wearing the Red Sonja garb.
Yeah, or something very similar to
or something very similar.
Yeah.
But then they always made Beverly very sexy. So
yeah, and like I said, I really like the way that Oeming writes everybody. I think he's got a really strong grasp on Peter and MJ and Sonja. Like I don't think there's a bad written character in this book.
Yeah.
Like I think they're all very well done.
Yeah.
You know, the ones that are Spider-Man, they feel like Spider-Man characters. I can't really say about the Sonja ones because I haven't read a whole lot. I have some of Gail Simone's Red Sonja works, but I have not read them yet. But you know, I really, really enjoyed this for what it was. It was just a fun, quick tale. You know,
Yeah,
like
no,
a lot
it-
of action, a lot of good pieces. It had some very good Peter MJ stuff in it, which I always considered to be a plus.
I would say it's very up there with, like, say, one of my favorite crossovers, Batman TMNT, where it's just, it does what you want. Like, I argue that, like, a good crossover like this is, it does what you want. It has both characters working together. You have really fun interactions with the two, and you see them fight each other's villains.
Yeah, exactly. And
So-
I'm not usually a big crossover guy, so like I really enjoyed this though.
No, I'm kind of the same way. Like, unless the crossover is something interesting or I hear a lot of good stuff. Like, for example, I wouldn't have really got into the Batman TMNT stuff if not for back issues, which is basically what we were doing here tonight.
Yeah.
But no, like I said, for me, good crossovers are like these, not like, say, the Batman Daredevil crossover from the 90s where Batman and Daredevil basically just measure dicks the entire time,
Yeah.
which makes it not nearly as fun. Or the first Batman Punisher one where it's Azrael Batman and Punisher, and Azrael Batman just gets made into looking like a chode the entire time compared to Punisher. Whereas the second one's much better. But no, this is definitely much better than a lot of the 90s crossovers. Like, I mean, there were some really good ones, but like some of the 90s Marvel DC crossovers were just kind of eh. Although I would love to read that Teen Titans X-Men, like, 80s one where it was Claremont's X-Men with
Yeah.
the new Teen Titans, aka my favorite iteration of the Teen Titans.
Okay, so ratings on the mini. I am gonna give it a solid 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I couldn't put it down. The art was great. The writing was great. I loved the story. It felt like a perfect blending of Spider-Man stuff with Red Sonja stuff. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I almost wish it was longer.
I think that's, yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9 just because, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd want it to be longer because I feel like it might overstay its welcome if it does that. But it from what I only put 9 because I didn't fully read through it, but I will give it a solid 9. And to be fair, I don't really give 10 out of 10s. I don't, because I like to save that for something that I think is pitch perfect. And there's not a lot of things where I deem it like completely perfect.
Yeah.
Because I hate giving those just because we've gone over this before. But it is very good, and if you can find this cheap, I would recommend picking it up. Now as for the original Marvel team up, I would say that's a solid 8 out of 10. But that's mostly just because, like, with Marvel team ups, because they're so short and like a lot of times they usually for me are like 5 out of 10s or like way worse than that. But the team up, I would give it a solid 8. It was very much Spider-Man runs into Red Sonja, they fight a wizard, and the resolution's very quick.
Yeah.
Although I do question where they found the amulet, since
They mentioned it was Egypt.
well, yeah, but like the original team up, if this is a sequel, like Peter threw it in the river.
That is a good. It could be I wonder if they mentioned it. Hold on. Maybe I gleamed it and didn't.
I mean, to be fair, it's not like it's a
Because I
big.
can't remember. I didn't read the team up until afterwards.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, they do not mention where it is. So it's just. You can kind of look at it as a sequel. You can kind of look at it as like an homage or like a reimagining.
That's true too.
So, but yeah, overall, the team up, I'll give an 8 out of 10. I don't think it's long enough. I think it's a great tale on its own, and it definitely does work for what it is. But I think it has the disadvantage of being so short, whereas this has the advantage of being longer. So I don't know if that's really a fair comparison to make, but I think
Well, that's why I rated mine like in terms of Marvel team ups, because some of them are really bad.
yeah, that one was actually pretty damn good.
Yeah, that was a very solid. Because like I said, they're either average, better than you expect, or just stinky. And I think this was the team up was Marvel team up issue was above average, like, which for Marvel team up is actually very good, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, that definitely does. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's gonna do it for this one, guys. pick it up if you can.
Yeah,
it's out of print, so you might have to look for it, or you might have to just get lucky like I did on Amazon.
You might be. Yeah, I was gonna say you might be able to pick this up on Amazon for cheap.
Could always just pirate it.
You should always just.
If it's out, I always say if it's out of print, I don't really have a problem with people pirating stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, you might be able to find that not bad in a used
Yeah, I mean, I got this for 15, and the only real thing is there's like a nick.
Yeah.
In the spine, but
Well, and I will admit it's a little
beat up, but
like it's readable beat up.
It's still binding strong on it. It's
certainly better than some of my Judge Dreads that I got from that.
Yeah. So, but all right, guys, that's gonna do it for this episode. Tune in next time for some more goodness for my birthday month, 1 month late. But till next time, guys, I'm Average Joe Squad,
And I'm Zongetsu 134.
and as always,
We ask you
remember the hyphen.
and take care.